In this episode of Real Degen Talk, we're going to talk about Genius, the Kanye West trilogy documentary on Netflix. This is a documentary about the life of this rapper. And for those of you who don't know him that well, you probably do know him from maybe the wrong reasons. He's been working at his craft since the beginning, over 20 plus years ago. And the reason I'm doing an episode about this particular documentary is because when I watched it, only the first parts, I saw so much of myself in it, it was scary. The reason is that this Kanye from 20 years ago is different than the one today. It's a bit different, but maybe he's the same for those of you those people who knew him well since the beginning. But basically, young Kanye, when he just started out in the industry, he was so hungry, he was so passionate, and he was a brilliant producer and rapper. There's literally nothing stopped him from going to the top. The person who made the documentary is actually his friend, who actually followed him from the very beginning and believed in him. So this is someone who saw the potential in Kanye at the very beginning and gave up his career just to follow Kanye around. And that's how we were able to get all these footages of Kanye in the beginning of the day, in the very beginning. I think all of us started at the bottom. We all started out as shit jobs somewhere. Kanye is no different. So he started making beat when he was about 13 years old, 5-year-old, started rapping around there as well. And his mom also believed in him. So I want to talk about not giving up. So there's a giant lesson here in this trilogy as you watch it. And I personally believe in that because I've been through similar things. In the very beginning, he was struggling. He was making beats for people. He basically focused on his craft, his love, like nonstop, obsessively. And I think that's one of the common traits in very successful people is that they continue to do it until they die. There is no stopping them. They just keep going because they believe that they are one of the best and they will continue to be the best at it. So that's what Kanye was when he started out. And then you see that throughout the documentary how he was rejected time after time after time by all of these different record labels. Rockefeller didn't want to sign him. All of these other labels, they didn't want to sign him because he was different than the others. Back then, when he first started, it was gangster rap. That was so popular. Everybody's rapping about, girls and drugs and money and bling bling. Kanye came out and he didn't rap about any of that. He rapped more about himself, about his upbringing, difficulties. It's a very different take on what the traditional rap scene was. So people didn't want to take chance on it. A lot of labels didn't want to take chance on it. But they did use his music because he was a great producer who produced music for Jay-Z's Blue album, like the Blue album. It's like he was very good at it. But nobody wants to sign him. So he persisted all the time. The whole time he kept on trying, continued to do his work, his craft, until one day he finally got signed by Rockefeller. Now, throughout his way, his mom, who was a very important person, a very important support person for him, who was always there to cheer him up when he needed. And I can tell from the footages of he and his mom that his mom has a huge influence on his life, huge influence on what she sacrificed so much for him in order for him to be there. So, and those of you who don't know, she died pretty early on in his career, and that totally changed Kanye as a person. So, but she was there, and there's one quote that stood out for me from her. That's when he was in her house. She told him about a particular quote. I think it stood out very, very important to me. She said this: "The giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing." I want you guys to think about this quote. This is one of the best quotes I've read. I actually retweeted that. So what does this mean? This means that a giant looks in the mirror and they see nothing because they are so used to them being giants and they just don't notice anything particular different about themselves. They don't see anything special about themselves. But everyone else who sees them, they can see that they are special. They stood out. They're giants, right? Everyone else can see it, but just not themselves. So this is the motivational quotes that she gave to Kanye when he feels down. So I think this is something that we all should should look at. If you lose confidence in yourself, if you lose track of your goal, if you lose track of motivation, I think you should continue to do what you do best and continue on, because you are a giant. All of us are giants. When you feel down, when you feel unmotivated, you just lose sight of yourself. So it's important to see what others see in you and then focus on elevating that quality to the highest as you can. I personally have lost a lot of motivation since the very beginning. When I was younger, I was so motivated, and it was scary because I pretty much have no choice. When I was younger, I don't want to work for somebody for a living. I like to always create my own things, always to work on my own side business, always trying to be as motivated as I can. I woke up every morning very early to study, to work on my side projects, and then I go to work. I will continue to do this until the side gig will overtake my work. There's nothing stopping me. It's a very, you need a certain amount of motivation to do that. And I noticed that as I go on in life, it becomes much more difficult to do that. And slowly and surely, I lost sight of my goal. So not until I started watching this documentary and see this particular quote, I started to get my motivation back. I want to get back on track on what I was doing. I want to focus on what my dream was. I want to continue to focus on my dream, and one day it will be true. So I know it will be true, and I know it will happen. So if you have a goal and you work hard at it and you don't stop, you will get there. There's no stopping it. So this is what I hope you guys can take from you. Now, I see somebody tweeted at me that he was so depressed and feeling down in life and don't want to continue on anymore. Please, if you feel this way, you really need to seek counsel, need to seek help. But for people like Kanye to have a person like that in their life, I see it as a blessing. And really, you need to find someone in your life that can do that. If you don't have anyone in your life who can do that for you, I hope this video can help you. Think about this quote. You are special. You are a giant. And there's nothing stopping you from going to your goal and achieve your dream. So I hope you guys like this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.